Hi, I'm Matt Hines here with DevOps TV for DevOps.com at Does16. We're joined by Andy from Netflix and Claude from Microsoft. We're going to talk a little bit about, I guess you guys are here to talk about continuous delivery this week.
Yeah, we just completed a presentation where we both showed how we go from check-in to production, both at Microsoft and at Netflix on the cloud, and basically kind of shared a bit of our lessons learned and what we're doing in terms of practices for those continuous delivery pipelines.
Yep. Yeah, and I showed Spinaker, which is a continuous delivery platform that we built internally at Netflix, partnered with Microsoft, Google, and a few other companies, and released it open source about a year ago.
Cool.
And it's multi-cloud friendly, so it obviously works on AWS and Azure, GCP, Kubernetes, and recently OpenStack.
Very cool. And as I was saying before we started talking, I can't think of a better continuous delivery story than Netflix, to which I'm completely addicted. But again, very interesting stuff. So tell us a little bit about the context in terms of how you work together to help optimize for Azure, and what that really means in terms of how it relates to what you guys do with Spinaker.
Yeah. Well, so we've open sourced a few other platforms. One was called Asgard, and what we saw with Asgard is it's very popular in the open source world, but people forked it and made it work on different clouds. So we had made it work for AWS. We saw some IBM forked it twice, made it work for SoftLayer, and then they also forked it and made it work with Docker. And those are great, innovations, but the problem with a fork innovation is you lose that innovation in the mainline. So we decided when we wanted to build a new system for continuous delivery, we wanted it to be pluggable. Be multi-cloud friendly and also pluggable in terms of what you're delivering, whether it be an AMI or a Docker or a JavaScript application, jar file, it doesn't matter. And so that presented an opportunity where we could partner with the good folks at Microsoft to say, hey, look, we can, we're going to do all the AWS work. They did all the Azure work. We teamed with Google as well. And they did all the Google work. And so what you have is a standard platform that can deploy to any of these clouds. And the cool thing is we specifically as a group decided we didn't want to make an abstraction. We didn't want to dumb it down and say all the clouds are the same. We wanted each cloud to be able to take advantage of the the features that are inherent in those clouds.
Sure.
And so it's a provider model. So if you're using the AWS model, you can take advantage of all AWS features. And on the same vein, Azure, you get all the features, the rich features of Azure that differentiate, let's say Azure from AWS inside of Spinaker through the good work that these guys did.
So what's interesting is, for example, for us was interesting to say, a lot on I think our previous experiences and the way Spinaker approaches release pipeline is very similar to the way we've been approaching it with our own tools. And from a Microsoft perspective, we've been opening up and doing a lot more open source. I think a few weeks ago we were kind of the number one contributor in open source overall. So basically, we saw Spinaker as a good way to get into to put a continuous delivery and obviously put in the ability to go to Azure and kind of again translate in Azure, how do we make the Azure constructs appear in Spinaker. But at the same time, what I thought was interesting is that then it started getting more the conversation and making a lot of common things better, and not only just working on Google on their thing and ours, but we have a very active Slack channel, and basically now for example this summer we had a hackathon between Netflix, Google, Microsoft, and a few others, just deciding on how we're doing authentication for this and doing it in a way that will work for everybody. So it's interesting to see, and we're all companies, we deploy, and that's the part I showed today, is how we deploy every day using a tool set. Andy showed how to do it with Spinaker, a different tool set, and again, there's a number of different tools, but what we're starting to put together is kind of that learning and those more opinionated way of doing that we see kind of works, and I think can be then exported to different companies to just go and try and apply this to accelerate their own pipelines and get the benefits of continuous delivery.
Yeah, it's an amazing case study in terms of continuous delivery. It's funny, one of the thoughts I have, there's got to be tremendous business value here,
sure.
Right? Both ways.
Yeah.
We had Mark Schwartz in here earlier talking about his book, The Art of Business Value. And my head's just, kind of working around. I mean, there's, again, so much here. Can you talk a little bit about, at the end of the day, how all this incredible work is showing up in terms of how it drives your business?
To us, actually, so we kind of went more on I'd say a originally more as a leap of faith. So for us in saying, we think Spinaker will be a great road to bring more people and to look into Azure and use Azure as an alternate. So we've been working on it. We've been releasing it, and at the end of the day, if you're a customer and you want to go to Azure now, you get a great tool set with Visual Studio, you get a great tool set with Spinaker. But also I think Spinaker brings it in saying, well, if you want to go target different clouds, then Spinaker is probably unique in the market there, and we wanted to be part of that. So if you want a cloud agnostic pipeline, we're basically one of the options to go to, and then we need to, for us it gives us a at least we're at the same table as everybody else, and then we'll try and win customers on Azure through Azure's own value, and just making, I think, the idea of continuous delivery more now a common table stake that everybody can just go and do and implement. At least from our perspective, that's the point of view.
And from a Netflix standpoint, it's a competitive advantage to move fast. So the business value is we want to move faster than anybody on the planet, or i.e. our competitors. We want to continually enhance the service to make you happy. So when you're binging on Luke Cage,
can't get enough.
we want to try different experiments to see kind of from a recommendation standpoint, based on this, because you like this show, maybe you like this show. The UI may change slightly. There may be bugs. We want to be able to move very, very fast to keep you happy. So at the end of the day, that tonight you decide to binge on something else, rather than go to somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the business value is rapid innovation with confidence, and that's done through continuous delivery. A platform like Spinaker is a standard road, so to speak, a paved path from a desktop to the globe, i.e. you, and we can constantly it's constantly, but it's a choreographed pipeline to take code with a high deal of confidence to put it out and say are you happy? And if you're not happy, we also know that quickly, and we can change things quickly again, so that we're moved faster than our competitors. Our customers expect us to move fast, and then we get to learn. We're innovating. We're evolving very quickly because we can constantly change things in front of you and understand how you react.
Yeah, and my reaction is just give me more. Right? Give me more hours in the day to watch it. Actually, no. Again, one of the other impressions I'm having here is there's got to be a lot of really interesting interplay between your organizations, right? The processes and the culture, how that's evolving in terms of this, tremendous, mutually beneficial relationship ongoing. Tell us a little bit about what some of the learnings there have been.
I think I can take on our side. So for me, and Microsoft again. It's a big organization, different teams work a little differently and have different experience, but at least on my side, it was really the learning to collaborate into the open source, and I think the joining early in the community and how to work through that, I think for me was a big learning. On the practices themselves, I think it's interesting because we do our thing, we talk to our customer, we do a lot of validation, but they have experiences, Google and Target and a lot of people have different experiences, and when you look at kind of the pipelines working, there's the delivery and pushing the next version, there's everything about using feature flags, so you can control exposure, you minimize your risks. There's all the telemetry to learn, A/B testing, try different things. So there's a whole slew of learning we have internally on different tools that we're comparing. And the idea, I think, and Andy mentioned it in the talk earlier, it's really kind of, it embodies opinions of what we think is a good way to do things. It's not necessarily for everybody all the time, but at least we know these work in a lot of contexts. So to me, that's kind of that quick learning, that sharing, those discussion. I think it's there's lots of value, at least for me, from a learning, and it's kind of fun to do. I would say.
Yeah. I would just say, to add on that, yes, and it's been fascinating from my team standpoint and other people in Netflix to learn from Microsoft. I mean, these guys and gals have been, they've been writing software for 30 plus years. They know about scalability with Bing, and they're constantly innovating. So we certainly have learned a ton from them in terms of how they view the world, how they telemetry systems, how they canary, how they think about global deployments. they know a lot about, obviously, kind of from a compliance standpoint. That's been fascinating to hear from them. So it's definitely been bi-directional. We're learning a ton, and hopefully, we're getting value on both ends.
Sure. When I look at Netflix, it's always what's next, right? There's no show hole, right? It's just whatever's going to come down the line. I don't know if I crossed marketing campaigns there. I forget whose that was. Hopefully not too badly. But I am a customer anyways. So what's next, right? How do you guys foresee the future evolution of this relationship? Because I think it's really exciting to hear about.
So for us, I think we're going to continue pushing on it. I think for us, there's a next step, which is more actually thinking about Spinaker. We just announced yesterday that we're now supporting Kubernetes on top of Azure Container Services, and we also added open source our Azure Container Service. So I think probably the next rounds of innovation will be more about kind of making our road very good for containers as well, and telemetry on containers. There's a whole slew of things that I think needs some maturing in there. So I think I expect to continue working on improving all of that in probably that area.
Cool.
My guess. Yeah.
And as I look down the roadmap in terms of what we're focusing on is right now we have this paved path, and we make it really easy for people to take again the bytes and put it into production.
Sure.
But we know we can make it even easier, because at the end of the day we want to move fast.
Yeah.
So we're looking at ways to make intelligent decisions across clouds. It doesn't matter based on some certain metadata, we can make decisions for you. So right now you make all the decisions on your pipeline, and we're looking at enhancing it so that Spinaker itself can infer some things from your code and say, hey, you know what, we're going to do X, Y, and Z for you. Don't even worry about it. And at the end of the day, it makes your job easier.
Yeah.
And there's great community interaction, right?
Yeah.
There's still a lot of open source.
And we'll take it. That's the thing about these projects is all these ideas come together, and if you want to push one of the rocks up the hill, go for it. Like it's so that and it makes the speed of innovation. We're thinking about it. We're 30, 40 people pushing on it. That's a fairly sizable team when you think about it, and we all get feedback and input from a very large network in that context when you look at all the people involved. So I think we'll just continue continue pushing hard and getting to the next thing.
It's a great story. Really fun to talk about it here. Again, thanks for joining us, Claude, Andy, and we'll look forward to hearing more in subsequent years.
All right.
Again, I'm Matt Hines with DevOps TV for DevOps.com at the Does 16 conference. Thanks for joining us.